In the latest twist involving U.S. internet giants in China, Google is now complaining that Chinese hackers have broken into hundreds of personal Gmail accounts, including those of U.S. officials, journalists, and Chinese activists. For more on this, we go to David Bandurski, who monitors China's mainstream and social media.
While Google hasn't exactly blamed China's government for the alleged attacks on its Gmail service, it has said that it's pinpointed the attacks to Jinan, a city in Shandong province where a military command of the People's Liberation Army is located. So China has vehemently denied these accusations, calling them groundless and also politically motivated. These tensions have been an eerie replay of what we saw last year, when Google pulled out of China and relocated its headquarters here to neighboring Hong Kong, after it said its computer systems had been infiltrated by Chinese hackers. Of course, this year is also very different, and one important reason for that is the Pentagon's announcement last month that computer attacks from another country could constitute an act of war, and that substantially ups the ante in this most recent Google case. Also, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has said that the FBI is investigating Google's claims that these attacks originated in China. Given the sensitivity of this story, as we might expect, there's not a lot of nuanced coverage in the Chinese press. The tone has been unanimously indignant. Let's look, for example, at this piece in the overseas edition of the Communist Party's People's Daily. This is not the first time Google has slandered China. This time around, Google has added Chinese human rights activists to the list of victims, purposefully pandering to the negative image of China in the Western world. Here's an editorial from China Daily. It says, "Google is back at its old tricks, and people have reason to believe that Google is again seeking to play its own role in a political farce." Here on domestic social media, you see a link to an article that says, "Google hacking accusations leave people in doubt." And this is actually from an online official news site from Shandong province, which is where Google says the latest phishing attacks came from. And this Sina microblog user from Hebei province writes with more than a hint of conspiracy, "Google has made much lately of attacks on its email service, but even a 3-year-old can tell that it has a really tight relationship with the Central Intelligence Agency." But one of the most interesting voices to appear last week on the Google story was from the Chinese-language Global Times newspaper. This is a paper generally known for its saber-rattling nationalism and for its more hardline political stance. Every day, China receives so many online attacks from outside the country. And the article goes on to say, "We are like someone who has constantly suffered theft, but is made out to be a pirate." The Global Times said China's government should be more transparent, that it should publish its own numbers on cyber attacks that China has suffered itself. Interestingly, China's government seems to have taken this advice on board. This week, it's drummed home the point that cyber attacks are a global problem, and it's published its own numbers, saying that China has suffered a 1,620% increase in cyber attacks last year alone. In Hong Kong, I'm David Bandurski for Link Asia, and I'll see you next time.
Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world. To learn more, visit linktv.org.